Good evening, everyone. It is 6 p.m. on November the 4th. This is Robert Stevenson. I am looking to open the meeting for the Southwick Town Granville Regional School District School Committee. Can I get a motion to enter into the meeting?
So moved. Second.
Can I get a show of hands enter into the meeting? Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 5-0-0. Can we all stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one God,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so the Canadian that has American citizenship messed up the pledge of allegiance, so I'm sure I'll get 45. I know, yeah, I get a red ball, it's not to screw up the pledge of allegiance. Maybe we could delete this and start over, but that won't work. All right, we got a consent agenda. This is the speak now or forever hold your peace. You got any?
Can you just throw them down this way?
Yes, they can.
Thank you.
There we go. That's our warrants. If everybody can take care of that tonight, that'd be great. Superintendent Willard, do we have any correspondence this evening?
The only correspondence I received was that the Southwick Select Board, was asking if we could change the date of the November roundtable because they have, meetings on Monday nights.
Mrs. Mount brought that up to me earlier. We don't need to put that on, and we do it now. We're kind of looking at maybe recommending Wednesday, December the 5th. Aaron, is that right? 4th. Anybody have any issues with moving that from, I think we had it, what do we have it on, the Monday?
November 25th. 25th.
Okay, 25th, so we're looking at a week and a bit later,
December 4th.
December 4th, Wednesday.
I can do that.
Anybody else good? You good for that?
That's fine.
Fine.
That's fine.
So, I mean, it's not an official school committee meeting, so we can. You don't necessarily need a quorum, but I always like it if we can have one. All right, so Aaron, let's try that. We'll send that out. We'll see if we can do it with them on the evening of December the 4th. All right,
Wednesday, right?
yes,
5:30?
Yes.
yes. All right, anything else?
Okay.
That was it? Magnolia, it's all you.
All right, so the Cocoa Social held by Student Council was a hit this past Friday. Students enjoyed having a couple, relaxing a bit after finishing up the first term. Freshmen and sophomores had a great homecoming over the weekend, where everyone took the opportunity to dress up and have a bunch of fun. Last Wednesday, the 30th, we were visited by Northeastern Center for Sports and Hate, where they discussed school culture and how students have felt since last visit in June. And they also educated on bullying and hate. Middle schoolers focus more on revisiting what was discussed during the last meeting in June and education, because the 7th graders are new and 8th graders just in general, they're both very still young. The high school grades, it was a bit more interactive, and they focused on talking about how the students feel about how things are in the school. The students said that it feels like it's getting better amongst peers, but are wondering if it's more of just a temporary feeling. They do agree that we have a lot more work to do. On Saturday, November 16th and Sunday the 17th, Southwick students will be outside the Dunkin' Donuts on East Main Street to collect donations for Raise Across America. Feel free to come down and donate. They'll be giving the money towards the national program, which will provide wreaths to the Agawam Veterans Cemetery. So then in December, those students will go there, and then help lay some wreaths. For the entire month of November, the yearbook staff will be hosting a donut contest where grades will compete to see who can buy the most yearbooks. Every day, updates on grades and their placements will be posted on the bulletin board outside the cafeteria. They'll have announcements on Tuesday mornings and Friday afternoons, which will also provide updates on the standings. The winning grade should be announced Monday the 25th. Sometimes some of the 3 days before Thanksgiving break, and that grade will win a donut social. We will also have a pep rally on the half day before Thanksgiving break. The fall play 12 angry jurors, hosted by the SRS Drama Club, will begin on the 21st until the 23rd, and you can buy tickets through the SRS website. New Connections members will be receiving their training at the end of November, and the program is currently working on presentations. The As Schooled Match Wits Quiz Bowl team for Southwick is back. They just taped their competition this past weekend, and they should air on January 28th, right?
Actually, I think the 25th.
The 25th.
It's our Saturday.
Okay.
I still have that, schools math with,
Their 64th season.
really?
And then for sports, field hockey had their first round of states this past Friday. They put up a good game, but lost to Northbridge 4-1. That was the first round of 32. Tomorrow night, girls soccer will have their first round of states game. That's round of 32 as well. It's at Wally Park at 6 p.m. And then Unified Basketball Team had their senior night tonight. Students made some great posters in advance to celebrate the seniors. The seniors, Ava, who also happens to be one of the captains of the team, Jaden and Jordan are all seniors, and we're very excited this morning for their game. They said that they wanted to do their best and try their hardest, but they were also sad that their season was almost over. They did lose tonight 39-47, but they did an amazing job and worked really hard during the second half and ended up having a pretty good comeback. And they've actually had a really good season so far. And that's all I have.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, we got a couple presentations tonight. We're gonna start with Mrs. Grunwald. You can come up to the table if you want to. James.
So I believe, good evening, everybody. I believe you all have a packet that was shared out for my proposed 2026 spring break trip. This will be to England and France. It's sort of a repeat of a trip we did back in 2017. It's a similar trip on that site. Like a couple of little changes, but primarily London, Winchester, and then taking the ferry across to Normandy and going to Omaha Beach and the cemetery, the American cemetery there, and Mont Saint Michel, down to Chartres Cathedral, and then down to Paris. So it's a 10-day trip, including travel days. Again, during April 2026, this will be my 13th, I think, trip. I started doing the trips at Southwick. My first trip was 2005, so 20 years of trips. So, and this one may be my last. So I'm going to start recruiting some faculty who want to
There we go.
take it over and over there.
Oh, there we go.
No pressure. No pressure. But I look forward to, once again, sharing the opportunity for travel with the students. And you have the pricing information. It's pretty much similar costs to the last few trips we've done. And all inclusive, there's additional for insurance, some optional trips that students can choose to participate in. And I do open it up. It's 10th through 12th graders in 2026, plus families. We do encourage parents to come along. We had a trip in this past April to Central Europe, which was amazing. We had quite a few parents come along. A couple who had come on the trip 2 years before to Italy. So it's nice to have repeat and nice to have students, siblings of students who choose to join in.
And no COVID.
And
Right.
not going no COVID on this trip. Yeah.
Nobody gets stuck over there.
No, that was an added little adventure. Not terribly surprising that it happened, because it seemed to be happening to every group.
Yeah.
At that point, but fortunately, it does not seem to be as much of an issue anymore.
Restrictions have eased up quite a bit. So
Yes,
it makes it a little bit easier.
yes.
I have no issues with it. The only thing that, and this isn't necessarily pertaining to you,
Mm-hmm.
but I think as a district, we need to figure out what happens if a leader can't go on the trip.
Mhm.
I know we ran into an issue this year with EF with respect to disclosing of information, trying to get the stuff figured out. I think we want to try to be able to avoid those kind of challenges in the future. I mean, is it something, and I'm looking to anybody on the administrative side, when we do this, can there be something that the leaders sign off on that says in the event that for some reason they were to leave the district and are no longer a teacher employed by the district at that point, that they would agree that they would transfer the leadership of the trip over to a current employee with the district.
Yeah,
Is that-
I have no problem with that.
Oh, no, I know you.
Yeah.
And I, it's just,
Is this
Yeah.
the same company?
Yeah.
yeah, the same company. So it's,
Weren't we gonna change that?
well, that was a question that we had. I mean, I know Mrs. Grunwald has worked with them for, I don't know whether the issue that we're dealing with necessarily is
Is it an EF?
it an EF issue? There may legitimately be some privacy issues that they've got on their end that, you know what, they can't really release that information. I think we could, as a district, solve it on our end really simply. If we have the people that are gonna be the leaders sign off on some sort of, I don't know what it would, like waiver that indicates that in the event that they are no longer employed with the district, that they will transfer their leadership over to.
Or unable to
Something
leave
like that,
it
yeah.
for any reason.
Well, if they're unable to go, I don't think that's the issue. I think the question is if they're no longer an employee of the district and they still wanna go, it creates a dilemma for us. And that's the situation that we're in right now, that we're trying to figure out and resolve. So if we have them going forward, sign off on something like that, I think that resolves the issue that we would run into with respect to kids being able to get access to funds that are potentially fundraised for the district, but then if it becomes a non-school sanctioned event, then that creates an issue with them getting access to those funds. So, I mean, we don't need to resolve this tonight. I don't think it's gonna impact your ability to do this trip. I just think it's worth bringing up for us, because I think ultimately it's gonna end up being a decision that we make. Since the trip itself needs to get approved by the district. And I think we ought to maybe come up with something from an administrative perspective that going forward. I think from a risk perspective with this proposed trip for next spring, I don't think we have much risk on this, but I think it's something that we ought to get addressed before, sooner than later, so that going forward, people are aware of what the requirements or responsibilities are.
Other than the issue that we've come up with ETF not releasing information, are you otherwise happy with this organization?
Completely, yeah, as I said, 20 years of working with them. Have had great experiences down the line when there have been issues before, they've been able to, adjust and compensate and, work well directly with us, whether it's prior to the trip or on the trip, during the trip. So that has never been an issue for me.
Because they got involved with the COVID side, right?
Oh,
When that
I
happened,
mean,
like,
they
that's-
were. That, from, the moment, we all had to test. The night before, the day before flying home. And probably within 10 minutes of tests starting to pop up positive. Their office is calling me saying, what do we need to do?
Okay.
Do you need us to
You had
contact
like
them?
5 or 6 people.
We
that ended up-
had, 4 students and 2 adults,
Was it?
yeah,
It
and
was a
they.
little over 10% of your group
Mhm.
that went, but
Yeah.
it's not minor.
Mhm.
I mean, I'd hate for us to, I mean, I know I was a little hot last time about finding a new company, but I mean, if we can, that's probably an understatement, right? But yeah, I'd hate to ruin a longstanding relationship if we can solve the issue on our end.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's not what we're looking to do tonight. But I did feel it was worth bringing up now, because
Sure.
it's a good time to bring it up. Anybody else got any questions? All right, thank you very much.
I'll hear from you in a couple weeks. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, Emma, I'm gonna hijack you for 1 second. We added something in your form here, guys. We've got a field trip request that since we were able to get the teacher here tonight, was looking to do this, we're on sort of a little bit of a timeline. Ms. Moriarty, if you want to come to the table and kind of give everybody a breakdown on what you're looking to do.
She's good.
It's not gonna take very long.
All right, hello, everyone. I I should have prepared a folder. It was international, I would have been more. But we've done a New York trip before. We've done it in lots of different ways. Most recently, last year, we went to the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, and then we took a ferry to the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. It was a great trip. We had a great day. And we were looking this year to expand it to, we still want to do the 9/11 Memorial Museum. And then we would like to bring the students to see the Broadway show Hamilton. So I mean, I feel like, the show's been around for a while now, but it was just unattainable before this because of how hard the tickets were to get. And, it was very expensive, but we found that that's now within our reach. And I am trying not to go into my history teacher mode right now, but I mean, as far as ties to the curriculum, it is like you are reading the Federalist Papers. It is like you are reading the speeches of George Washington. Act 1 is about the war and Act 2 is about the founding of our government. And even students who in the past have been, oh, I'm not a musical kid. Once I teach it and no one can deny how beneficial it is, I feel like, to make a topic that can seem monotonous, like it is hard to teach the Federalist Papers, like it's not lively. It is really very cool to see how it makes a topic new and relevant to students. And it would just be a blast. So that is what I'm hoping for this trip.
Yeah, the timing, the full disclosure, I went with Mrs. Moriarty last year. And we were talking last week about, I think actually was the one that proposed thing. And I said, I can get it. I looked online and there are student tickets that you can get for shows and they're $76 a person. So down at that price, it now, like you said, it puts it on there. So normally we would bring this to the agenda, wait 2 weeks and approve it. But and I talked to Superintendent Willard about this last week, what we're looking to do is approve it tonight because we'd like to get the ability to start opening it up for kids to apply, because the sooner we can get the kids, and she knows who's going to be in her classes next year or next term. So that we can get the numbers locked in, so that we can get the tickets for the show as quickly as possible, because there will be as many as 54 people going, and that, the way they've got that theater set up, they have little blocks in the back for students, and a whole section 68 tickets, so we are taking the vast majority of one of these shows. So that's the.
So when is the trip proposed for? Is it a 1-day thing? How much is it going to cost? Which groups of kids are you opening it up to? All that stuff.
Okay, yes, let me give you more of the nuts and bolts. So I'm hoping that's that.
Oh, this one.
Not till May 15th.
Okay,
And the reason for that, we looked at the calendar, it doesn't conflict with any MCAS testing. I made sure that is the AP testing week, but no, I think it affects one student in the whole school.
okay.
And to be honest, I don't even know if that student is eligible to go on the trip anyway. It would be open to my AP students, AP US history students. I also teach an elective called Popular Culture and American History. And the connection, we talk about Broadway, we've talked about like that is the connection there. Plus, in order to take popular culture, you have to have finished US history. So those students, although, they would have already had the context for 9/11 Museum and Hamilton for going on this trip. So the cost, if we had the rough estimate for what the ticket cost, it costs $19 and I think 50 cents to get into the 9/11 Memorial Museum. And I used how much we had for the bus last year as an estimate for what it would be this year, and I think around 120. I also believe, I'm open to doing a fundraiser as well, but I just, for both of those things, I feel like that's a reasonable price, but I don't want to be insensitive to, it is $120. But I do think that we could fill the bus for that.
Did you do Broadway before?
Yeah, so we're doing, I mean, we have a Broadway trip coming up in December.
How much does that cost?
I'm charging the students 100, but we're subsidizing part of it through, the ticket sales, from the draw,
Right.
part of it. coming
So
from the-
120 is not a bad number for like.
No, I mean, it's, so the 54 seat bus is like $2,800.
So what company did you use?
King Gray.
Okay, I called them. They're gonna be calling me back. I don't remember off the top of my head. I used Algonquin last year because King Gray was booked. But I have emails out for like 3 different
Yeah.
quotes right now, so I'm gonna be going with the one that's the least amount of money.
Yeah, and
So, thank you for that.
Yeah, and the tickets are usually about $80.
Okay, oh, okay.
You got another chaperone right here.
I
Pam's son's gonna be in your class.
believe.
Yeah. So she's already said, I'm gonna go.
I did see that I had wonderful students.
But we had a great time at the 9/11 museum. We had not enough time last year. The bus driver we had went the wrong route. Oh, no, we
Oh,
avoided all the, we went over to.
Oh, my God.
Before. Oh, it was a nightmare.
Yes, it's truck.
So,
Bridget was on with it.
it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't good.
Way possible.
I sped through, I tried to do the best tour I could at the 9/11 museum.
And we didn't get to see the memorial part of
Yeah.
it. We really sped
Oh.
through the museum and didn't get to see
Yeah.
the reflection,
Cool. Yeah.
which was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, but we were talking before, if we time it right, we could leave here like 9:30, 10 o'clock, miss the rush hour. Get lunch on the way down, get to 9/11, spend a couple hours there, go to Times Square, have 2-3 hours. Eat dinner before the show, go to the show at 7 and then get
So would
back.
you do an evening show?
Mhm.
So
Okay.
we would be back
Yeah,
a little
late.
late. We would be back.
And they have to come to school the next day, part of the deal.
Athletes?
Huh?
I don't have their schedules. I like not miss stuff.
I don't know,
Yeah.
even if you went to
I
the
don't
afternoon
know.
show, you
I
wouldn't
don't
get back till the
think-
day after they were really done.
You can't miss a sport to do another sport.
Yeah.
That's not part of like your high school sports trump, like any traveling. But if it's like a school event, yeah, you can.
If it was closer to the date, I would always try to work with the sports calendar, but
Well, you can't even work on that.
Even if they went, even if we did a matinee at 1 or 2, you're not gonna get out of there till
Yeah.
4, and you're not gonna get home till 7 or 8
Yeah, still miss
anyway,
the
so
full
you're
school
still
day.
gonna miss the whole thing.
I'll play soothing music on the way back so we can nap.
There you go.
Sure.
Don't give them that long.
Anybody got any other questions?
I think it's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't say thank you.
I got on my phone.
All right,
Don't do it.
now, we've got site strategic plan and data presentation from our new principal down at Woodland. That's like, right.
Well, they weren't kids. It wasn't pictures, it was a video of them dancing in the morning.
Oh, so.
You know how we had. Yeah, put it up, no. There, I had, I'm gonna begin with videos of them. They're out there in the morning, they dance. It's so cute. They got
Is that something they've done all along, or is this something you put in place?
Oh, I did this.
Next Sunday.
Come on.
They just asked me.
No,
I think it's wonderful.
we did it, well, truthfully, because the first day of school, I drove by Powder Mill and I saw she had out, flags, all that stuff. And I was like, where is she, so I was like, well, I'm gonna put it on music. And then a mom ended up, we just started doing it every day. And then she sent a video of her daughter that her dad had videoed, and so the grandpa, because he drops her off in the morning, and she said it's the highlight of her day that she gets to dance her way into school, so now we have to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's fun. We have a good time. So.
No, why? Because that's where the preschoolers chill.
They
until
chill
go
out
to their
there.
Building.
We do. So, I just very quickly put together some of the spring and fall data for, math and ELA. So the math, you can see the end of the year, they, 70% of
the students at the start of the year, had scored 1 grade below and 15% had scored 2 or more grades below, but by the end of the year, we reduced that substantially. So, only 2% of our students, it's really hard to read on here, but, only 2% of our students were in the red. That's what I don't think you guys have the color, please.
You gotta get the approval for color copy.
Yeah, sorry. So the bands are, the green is, all the way to the left. That's of course the good, and the red is all the way to the right. That's the bad. And so you can, and then you really can't even see the ones underneath because they're so light. So I apologize for that, but they made a significant amount of progress, from fall of 23 to spring of 24. And this year, fall of 24 actually is very similar to the spring, the fall of 23. So what you see at the bottom of that math page 6, slide 6 is very similar to the previous year. So we're looking pretty good for math. ELA in spring. So last year, ELA in kindergarten, they started structured literacy. The majority of the students performed at or above benchmark in the spring, 78%. They have seen a lot of growth every year. Grade 1 also, they had 77% of their students at or above benchmark levels. They've done a good job of targeting the instruction. They do all their small groups. Grade 2 had 57% of students at or above benchmark, which is obviously less than the other 2 grades, but they did reduce their well below benchmark by 60%. So if you are able to see if you look on their composite scores, you'll see that their well below was significantly lower. And these graphs are the opposite of the iReady. So the red, the low scores are on the left, where the higher scores are on the right. So it's a little bit more difficult to see. The composite scores also for DIBELS have several different tests, which at the very beginning under the vocabulary, I said all the different tests that they have. So it's made up of several different tests. So I did break down just a little bit further from the composites, the 2 biggest subtests for each grade that that we consider to be the markers for whether students are making progress, because the subtests are weighted differently for the composite. So if you look at, let me see, if you look at the kindergarten one that looks like this, the first of their priority tests is the phonemic segmentation fluency, which measures their phonemic awareness and how they can hear and manipulate sounds. You can see if you're just looking from year to year. So it's the first year that we did this, which was, or maybe not the first year, but it's going back 3 years here. 2021 to 2022 is that first band that I have around, then 2022 to 2023, 2023 to 2024, and then this year is that last column that doesn't have a box around it. So you can kind of see how we've had a very steady,
We're growing more each year.
and we're starting better each year, except for kindergarten this year really has a large number of students who are have started the year with more difficulty than they have in the past. It was they had 41%, I think, last year, and this year it's like 49% of students. But I think they'll do.
There's a couple students.
It is, I think it was 8 when I looked at it, but preschool, our pre-K has started Heggerty, so they're gonna be doing some phonemic awareness stuff that I think will help in the, moving forward, so that's really good. And if you look, so for each of them, for every year, it was really interesting for me to if you just look at the color bands, which you can't really see well, but you can see that the top 2, which are the above and well above, they are growing. You see the red and what looks like white here, which are the below and well below decreasing, which is great. There's on some of these, there's a little gray band, which that's page 10 here. Those are kids who couldn't be tested. They're not quite able to be tested yet for this particular one. But then on some tests, they are too high to be tested. They test out, which is weird. I can show you that in color another time if you care to look. But the first grade also, you can see that they've done a nice job of starting out stronger each year. As you go through, you see the progress throughout the year, and each year they're starting a little bit stronger, which is exactly what we want to see. So what they're doing in kindergarten is helping our first grade teachers, and our first grade teachers are helping our second grade teachers. I know just from being in Powderville that all of this was helping the teachers here, because when we first started it, we did a lot of decoding groups. And I don't think there's hardly any decoding groups now.
Fourth grade, which is
Yeah,
finishing.
whereas when we first started this, we had a ton, like, in fifth and sixth grade, we had a ton of decoding groups. So what they're doing here is helping
So are
tremendously.
we, and I'm going back to your presentation that we just did, where there was a number of the grades where we had a big chunk of them that weren't at above or excel. Are we hoping that as the kids that are in Woodland right now move their way in, is that expected to continue? Or are we running into an issue that when the kids get that age, they fall off?
So we,
I guess
we're trying, it's a little bit of both. We are hoping it progresses and stays moving, but we also know that fluency has been an area that we've been stuck. So we have really started to dig into the why and starting to try to figure out, is it that we're not doing it right? Is it that we don't have the right things to use? So we're really trying to figure out, and we're at really the forefront of this in a lot of ways. A lot of districts are 2 years behind us. So other people, like, we seem to be building the plane for everyone else. You know, we're the group that's building the plane as we're flying, but then everyone else is benefiting. So we're the people going, hey, wait a minute, we're not sure if this is working. And now we work with Hill's coming in and saying, all right, let's try to figure out why it's not working.
So I'm not reading this right, you know what I mean? It's great information, but I'm like, well, wait a minute. They're doing fantastic at Woodland, and they come up here to Powder Mill and they like fall off a cliff in
Well,
some
it's
of the
that,
areas.
we've got them through the decoding, and that's what Hill's taught us really to do well.
Okay.
And then the next piece is fluency. Once you can decode it,
Okay.
you've got to get faster and more automatic. And so that's where we're wondering, do we have the right materials to use for that? Has Hill and the science of reading figured out what that looks like? Is there an intervention for students? All of that we know for decoding works, and the steps of literacy, like we're seeing that.
Cause you see them nationally, I mean, that you hear the science of reading all over the place.
Yeah.
The state of Arkansas, Mississippi, like they're all in with this, like
Everyone
so-
is, but I will also remind you though, we are all in 4 years ago. Everyone else is all in right now. We literally came out of the pandemic starting this.
Okay.
Yeah.
What group started with? Even our first year doing it was the teachers also figuring out like what they're doing with it, right?
Right.
To give like
That
that
really
that
first
first
year,
group, you
yeah.
know, like which one have we gotten the material
So,
now?
as the Woodland teacher
know?
used it the most, is that,
No, we all.
everybody started
together.
at the same time, right? Okay.
But it's at different levels, you're doing different topics, right?
Also,
So
our
that's
kids
part of
could
it.
Been that test group.
Yeah,
it's
and
called that, you know.
because so many kids couldn't decode, this building had to learn how to teach decoding. But then once the kids got it, fewer and fewer kids need that. So
Now
they
they
learned
get-
something that now they don't
Now,
know.
nice
Yeah.
thing is-
And they learned something that they don't need to use.
That we'll have time to focus in on the fluency side.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they won't really need it at all, hopefully. The few kids who will still need decoding after going through all this are probably students who may need an ed plan, who may need different interventions like SIPs.
Yeah.
But yeah, they shouldn't need it. And they're really doing, and to speak to the flying the plane while building it, you know, Rachel and I and a couple other teachers were speaking today. And even the program that we use, HMH, is rebuilding some of their
Yeah.
materials because as we're putting in structured literacy, now they have to adapt what they previously put out. So everything that
We
is
should get a
happening.
discount on
We
the
should,
cost
yeah.
of these materials.
We should.
Things that
We
are
should.
piloting this for them.
We should.
Mhm.
So get a copy of this meeting and send it to Hill. and say, we would like a discount
Right.
on the new materials.
I agree. And one of the great things is that now our teachers are going to, our second grade teachers are gonna have the responsibility of, you know, they were doing a lot of decoding and now they're gonna be tasked with doing fluency, whereas before they hadn't really had to do too much of that because we hadn't been there yet. So it's all moving down. which
But maybe
is-
the teachers at
And
middle
it
school can
takes-
help them, because they've been working on
That's
things, so.
And it takes time.
It does.
There's a learning curve to
Fluency
really
is hard to
feeling how,
Mhm.
exactly,
Yeah.
figuring out the right way to teach it.
And, so yeah, so, you know, the data has been really interesting to look at. I think, one of the things that, you know, things to remember, the thing that has been most interesting for me moving down from Powder Mill to Woodland is seeing just how much has to be explicitly taught that I took for granted. Walking into an art class and seeing, I keep saying it because, you know, where there's little dots on a page. and it
I was
says,
with her.
just use a dot, not a lot, and they're learning how to glue dots because they don't know how to glue. Teaching them how to hold a paper while they're trying to use a glue stick, hold a pencil, walk with a tray in the cafeteria while they have their backpacks without bumping into someone or something. Walking in the door in some cases, you know, and so really truly, it's you know, we have,
Use the dot.
it's
No,
amazing.
it's funny, it was like 100-page dots and they literally dropped thing of glue in every single
So,
one.
and have you watched a little kid?
What we're finding
Yeah.
is that fine mothers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even as they get older.
How to hold a pencil,
How to hold a pencil. So the
You know
thing,
how to direct them to do something.
yes,
I remember my Brookie, my oldest, she's a senior now, and she was sitting at kindergarten, you know, the meeting that they go to before,
Orientation.
yes, orientation. And the woman was like, there was like all these different colored blocks,
Mhm.
and she was like, can you take a blue block and put it on top of 2 green blocks? And Brooke's like, yeah. And she kept asking her, I'm like, just tell her to do it.
Can you show me?
Yeah.
I'll do it now.
Yeah.
Like to show
Can
it
you
to
show me how to do it? Yeah.
Then do it.
And we have, you
They're
know,
very little.
they are very literal, and we have kids who cry, they don't wanna leave their parents, and so I feel like I'm trying to make their start a positive start, so that it's a wonderful foundation for them, so that as they move through the years, they're excited about school, they've had a good introduction to school. So, you know, the data is super important. I'm really excited that our teachers are putting in the hard work. That our kids are reading faster than they ever have before. But I'm also mindful that there are still kids and, you
And they
know,
go home with pages stuck to them.
Right.
They didn't, they put too many dots on there.
they did not, they did a really.
Have you guys
To
ever,
the building, start.
with the
day
fine
fun.
motors, with the fine motor skills that you guys are working on, do you guys engage the occupational therapists down there to help?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
they have all of that. It's
Hormel.
fascinating. Yeah,
Mhm.
Hormel, she's.
She's there.
So
all
they
the time.
go-
No, I mean,
they
that's-
go
that's
right into
their-
the
that's
preschool
their
classroom.
forte,
That's
so.
part of their curriculum for
It
preschool.
shocked me though in 7th grade, just doing a lab the other day that involved taking a rope and tying it and putting a knot in it. How many kids were like, Miss Finch, I don't know how to tie a knot. I'm like,
Like, do you know how to tie your shoes?
Well, no, because they're all Velcro and elastic and everything now, so they have to,
They just have to slip them on.
they don't have to do, tie the shoe and
Camera
wrap it
doesn't
around
reach
the
that.
tree and,
Not unless they're in sport mode.
yeah.
You still shouldn't play soccer. Bad choice. And then my strategic plan, so I've left pretty much everything the same, other than I did add, because I thought it was really important in Powder Mill. We did the whole school read, so I did add that to, Woodland strategic plan, which these aren't highlighted. I had them highlighted. Well, I did have on, because now that's what it says, right? I did have on here that we were going to do the whole school read, so I'd like to, oh, it's on the very back page. So that we can do something similar to the small books that we did at Powder Mill. I'm not familiar enough with, you know, this age to even begin to pick out a novel or some type of text for the kids.
Second grade?
No, a whole school
Oh, yeah.
for maybe pre-K through
That's a
2.
Very big.
It's a
gap.
big range.
Yeah.
But if you have smaller picture books, you can read them to all of them, and that's what we did at Powder Mill, even 3 through 6. So, I'd like to get some books like that are going to, I found one that talked about, just different types of animals, what are you, and those kinds of things, and, there's cute little books for this age, but I want the teachers to be part of the process, so that's gonna be important to me.
I did read a great book a few years ago. Remember No Elephants Allowed? That was such a great book on belonging and friendship and kindness.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Well, it's around.
mhm. There's so much. It was a really rich.
So you're gonna go down and read that to the Woodland kids?
No, I usually choose a book every year, but I just.
Wonderful. Superintendent reads Noel.
And I did, was it Jabari Jumps? Jabari Jumps. That's another good book.
I have a stack of them.
Copy, you can go in there and read.
And then one of the other things that I'm doing, both Kayla and I, is with the science of reading, we're learning, because I don't know this age level, I don't know how they do their foundational skills, so part of that with the implementation of overseeing the implementation of that is learning it and doing it ourselves, so we're gonna be going into the classrooms and doing it, trying it out, seeing how we do.
Well, just like
Set the
kids,
timer,
all
make
trial
sure we
and
can
error.
do it.
You gotta figure out, just like the kids, it's a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess coming from being a teacher for 3 through 6, I felt very confident in what I expected people to do, but down here, I don't really know what they have to do. It's shocking to me, I can't even tell you, it's shocking to me that they get like kindergartners to sit there and do their work. They're silent, they're finger spacing. They're doing all their stuff, if they can go into their groups, it's shocking to me, so I have to put myself into a classroom and do it.
To do that, how do you do it?
It's really amazing, it really is.
Fifth grade boys are all different speed.
Right. Perfect. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. it's
So you're
really-
having fun,
I am having fun.
right? You having fun down there? Yeah? Good?
She loves it,
Rachel's
right,
been there a
Rachel?
long time.
Actually,
Rachel,
Rachel-
how many years now down there?
Too many?
And
Actually,
I just want to shout out Rachel. Rachel sent me a lovely email, and I don't get lovely emails all the time.
You didn't bring that up in correspondence, right?
No.
You should.
She's just like right on
Yeah.
the camera, I can see your
I know.
face.
Well,
About
her legs and the thing.
that they feel supported this year and that they're having a great year and that it was nice for the district to listen and provide the assistant principal and how it makes the teachers feel supported, that we listen. So, it was nice, thank you.
Well, that's nice to hear.
Actually, she was Brookie's teacher. Kindergarten teacher.
Anybody have any questions for Mrs.
Yeah.
Ruth?
No.
So maybe, and I know I'm the biggest culprit of this too, but I know we've been provided with these iPads. So maybe if we bring them, we don't have to worry about color photocopies or anything, we can just pull the presentation
Oh,
up on the
yeah.
iPad, and then the color is there.
Yeah, it is.
So that
It
might be
is
something
very-
that we oughta, myself included, think about remembering to bring our iPads. Cause then we may be able to save some money on the photocopies, and we don't have to worry about anybody getting killed because they got color copies.
Yeah, it's very easy to share.
And if you highlight,
Mhm.
then
And it's
we would
easier
see
for
it,
us to like file management and
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
put it right on it. So we've got them, we don't bring them, so we ought to maybe bring them.
I almost brought mine.
you're not using the technology provided, that
No, apparently we're not, so
part of our strategic.
we're counting on ourselves, that's
Technology.
half the battle. All right, well, thank you very
All
much.
right.
No, and then we were able to see the video evidently.
I
Oh,
know.
and if we had the iPad, we would have been able to play the
I
game.
can't even, it is so adorable. They dance every morning and they just do this.
Yeah.
A little bit
Is
of
her
this.
son a good dancer?
No, not the other day when he was screaming, I thought,
It's rough. Everybody has their mornings.
that was it.
All right, next up, Superintendent Willard.
Okay, quickly, I just wanna, just say how enlightening, how just profound the addressing hate in school assemblies was last week. I was there for the 7th, 8th, for the 10th, 12th, and for the 9th and 11th. Ms. Carrier and I stayed for all three of them. Each group was a little bit different. It was really like a moment for kids to really use their voice about what they're seeing in the school, and they talked about leadership, and they talked about the characteristics of leadership, and they talked about, in a really safe place, they were able to just like call out like things that we don't want to see in our school anymore. But it was in a very safe way, and it was really just about being an upstander to bullying and to hate and to bias, and when you see it, to call it out. And but just from some of the students' behaviors, you could tell that we are not anywhere close to where we need to be. Because when we were, I'm just gonna give you a quick example. When we were talking in one example about a student shared how sometimes people make fun of her because she doesn't always get things as quickly as everybody else, and like some of the, kids in the audience like laughed. And one of the presenters was like, you just had a classmate share something that was really personal, and some of you are laughing about it, like, she paused, and this isn't funny, like, how do you think that makes her feel? So it was like really
vulnerable and you.
vulnerable, and then you do this, and let's look over here at the leadership board, and these are the characteristics of leaders, and you all, consider. So it was really like in the moment, like self-reflective, and I think that kids got a lot out of it. It was, again, much more interactive for the older kids. They went on they went on the stage, and they had to decide between if you had a superpower of flying or being able to swim underwater, why would you do it? Like, there's no right or wrong, but just being able to understand that you can have different opinions, but you can discuss them, and that they can, you can
They'll be like
have a
respectful
civil
of each
conversation
other.
about it and be respectful. There was one about, should you have no homework or no tests? Androids versus iPhones. So there were topics that were really relevant to the students, and safe topics, I think, to frame some really difficult conversations about, I'm biased towards the iPhone because I have it, or this is why I like this better, and so a very safe environment. I think the majority of the kids were really engaging in the presentations. And then after this week, there will be letters going home to the kids who were selected to break out into the small group sessions, where they're gonna do some small group with Lisa and Nicolette. And they're the two presenters, and the parents were gonna be informed. The parents will be signing a permission slip to let them know what's going to be happening in these groups. But what they're trying to do is really create some of these like peer leaders in the building. So to really begin to really deeply model like how to be an upstander. It is not easy to be an upstander, and it was really evident in that, just watching the kids talk. Like it's a very uncomfortable thing that's very difficult, and I don't think we pay enough attention to the peer pressure that our high school and our middle school kids are under to be accepted. And it needs to be validated, and that we have work to do. So we're just gonna keep doing the work and making sure that all of our kids, everyone, feels safe, supported, and that, they have a safe person to talk to in the school.
Can I add one little comment?
Yeah.
That one of the students talked about, it's harder to stand up to your friends because they know about you. They
Yeah.
know who you are deeply, and so they have a lot of information they can share about you, and it's very scary. And I really thought that perspective really I hadn't thought about it in that way, but they were like, it's really scary to stand up to your friends because they know you truly, and they can share that with anyone, and that was scary. And so I was really,
Yeah, that was powerful.
yeah, it got me really as an adult thinking in a way that I hadn't.
So how do these kids how are they chosen to be in these small groups? Who's deciding that they're going in these small groups?
The teachers are here. I think the teachers are nominating some. I think the athletic coaches are, or the Mary and George, captains of some sports teams, leaders in like the drama program, the band, leaders in various clubs in the school. So there are people who have some
Kids
sort.
allowed to volunteer to be in these groups if they want, or no?
Yes, I know they were because they said if you were interested, let us know. Because I was actually talking to to a student. And I watched him as people were fooling around next to him and he was so appropriate. And he was just like, please stop.
You may find that the better, your best upstanders may not be
Mhm.
those people that are in those positions right now, because in high school, a lot of that is. I mean, popularity, it's not necessarily whether you're a leader or not, it's you're the most popular, so you get picked.
Yeah.
That's good.
So if the boy that I asked to join it, please join it. I was really impressed with your behavior.
No pressure, but that's now on YouTube forever. So, all right, fantastic. Anything else for us?
That's all I have right now. Oh, we talked about the.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to the mask conference this week.
Oh, that's right, that's
Yes,
this week.
That's this week.
You're going to?
This week.
Okay,
Yes.
maybe you're going to. It's.
I don't know
it's
that I am
Wednesday, isn't it?
anymore, but
Wednesday
that's
through
okay.
Friday?
Wednesday through Friday.
Yeah.
Are you leaving tomorrow?
Yeah, no, I'm not leaving till Wednesday morning. I hate that, but. It's just too busy.
You're not staying at the hotel on campus, right?
No.
Good.
No, and I also want to share that I did send out a letter to families tonight regarding incident that happened last week. With a student at our school, still in investigation mode, but I just wanted to share that I did send a letter out to the community.
Sure. All right, policies. So we've gone without any issues for a long time, but we got a couple things that we need to, from a clerical perspective, address tonight. We made an adjustment to our agenda at the end of last year because of the challenges and difficulties that we were running into with throngs of people here and then coming in and leaving right after public comment that we had at the beginning and not sticking around to actually see what we're doing in school committee.
Disruptive as the meeting
Right.
progressed.
Yeah, so what we had done, but we failed to take a vote on this. So from a procedural perspective, we did not follow the right procedure. We're gonna try to atone to that tonight. There are two policies that we need to make slight adjustments to. We're gonna go over those, and then my recommendation is that we've got it in the action items tonight to waive the 3 readings so that we can immediately correct this, and that way going forward, we'll be able to continue the way we sort of structured this right now. On this first one, this BEBB-E, there was a section above this that kind of indicated the types that we would go over, and then it repeated everything down below this. So we deleted that top section. And then underneath, the only changes are we removed the public comment, which was number 2 or number 3. And then everything else moved up. So we still have one public comment down at number 9, which is right after the subcommittees and liaisons, which is where we've had it since April of last year. So that's the only changes that we've done here. The top, as I said, was just a breakdown that said it would go over routine items. It basically gave a summary of what we've got specifically down here in this lower section. So that's the only changes that we need to do here. In the other policy, the BEDH, the only thing that we needed to adjust was under number 2. We removed verbiage that indicates that there was going to be 2 public comment sections of 15 minutes. And we've now adjusted it where it says during each regularly scheduled school committee meeting, individuals or group representatives will be invited to address the committee. The length of public comment shall not exceed 15 minutes. So that allows us to put it where it is in the agenda. It indicates the length of time that we're looking to have it there. As is in one of the other policies as the chairman, if we get to a point where we have a public comment session that I feel that is relevant to continue and can be extended, we certainly have the opportunity to do that, and that is at the discretion of the chair.
Yeah, right here.
Can I make a suggestion
Yeah.
that, so if you look at number 4.
Yep.
The last sentence, the presiding chairperson may permit extension of this time limit in extenuating circumstances.
Yep.
Can we also copy and paste that statement to follow number 2? The length of public comment shall not exceed 15 minutes.
Oh, so you want to add something that says. the
Right,
presiding
so
chair-
that,
Yeah.
under
Yep.
necessary circumstances that can be adjusted.
Yep. Absolutely. So basically, it'll read what it says in number 2, but then we're gonna add. The presiding chairperson may permit extension of this time limit in extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely.
No problem
That
at all.
way we're not limited to 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's
if we're
actually,
having.
it's actually addressing a different policy that the chair
Okay.
has the ability to do that, but I have no,
But
I
we
think that's a great
just
idea.
wanted to look at that.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay.
And the nice thing is that when we've gone through this in policy, last year when we did this chapter, we didn't necessarily change any of this because it was our own. Mass doesn't really have, it's kind of done by each district, so that is something we
Where
can.
does it say that it's at the end? It's not.
It's on, no, it's on
dash
the
E,
first one.
right?
Yeah, it's right under number 9. It says public comment excluding personnel issues.
This is adjust.
I'm looking at number 9 because I don't know my Roman
No, no,
numerals.
IX. Yeah, so right under subcommittees and liaisons is where public comment is now.
Okay,
We had one that was right after
yes,
routine items.
right, we used to have
Okay.
2.
Yep, we used to have 2. Technically, from a legal perspective, we don't have to have any. It is
Oh, we don't?
No.
legally, you do not have to have public comment.
Yeah,
This is a meeting that is always done in public.
yeah,
Because legally you need to do that, but you are not obligated to have a public comment section.
yeah,
And look, for the 4 years that I've been on the committee, when we've had public comment, anybody that's comment's always done it at the beginning, and then by the time we get to the end,
yeah.
there's nobody here.
I've
if-
had a lot of conversations this past weeks.
Yeah.
month, About this and with just a lot of the other parents and they were, super respectful because they were all, pretty much employees of this town or of this district. And they were just worried that, what they had to say, they want to still be very, respectful of all of the rules and regulations. But I guess there was just one person and I unfortunately wasn't at the last meeting. And so there was just one person that was not able to talk.
Yeah, and I did receive correspondence on that.
Yeah.
And and that's a decision that's up to me as the
Right,
chair.
what
I
I'm saying
made
is
it-
that the circumstance, and there's
Yeah.
no more outline on any of those extenuating circumstances,
Well, it's really the purview of the chair. The situation we had last year
Yeah.
was certainly an extenuating circumstance. And we had a
Right,
number of
right.
times where we extended public comment.
Right,
At the last meeting, I made it very clear that we were gonna have 15 minutes. I didn't know how many people were going to be speaking. I actually extended the 15 minutes slightly because we had the 7th person. That I allowed them to start and they did their public comment, it was over. And to be honest, after the 4th or 5th person, we're dealing with the exact same items
yeah,
coming up. Like if we had something where we were dealing with multiple different opinions and
Right.
multiple, that would certainly, we did that before when we had the mask mandate meeting that we had opened that up
yeah,
and we had extended it. And the reason that we stopped it when we did is that at that point, nobody had anything new.
and I've been explaining a lot of this is that when we were, up against the press coming to all of the meetings and everybody yelling at us at that point in time, nobody was staying to listen to what our proposals were to move forward. So that was really the reason why we moved it to the end, so that we could.
Yeah, we didn't move it, we
Discuss.
just eliminated the first one.
Right,
Because
but
it's-
that's why,
Absolutely.
it's tomato, that was why we did what we did, because we wanted to propose what we're going to do to move forward and correct these
Yeah.
things. And the press and everybody wasn't staying to listen to any of that. And
Yeah.
so it became, and it took, as the media will do, and it took this ball of fire and just turned it into, a forest fire.
Yeah, I mean, from my
Yeah.
perspective, and we certainly talked about this, if I have no problem if somebody wants to come in and voice their opinion on something that we need to hear.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think it's also as important if they're gonna come, to actually listen to the meeting, hear what's going on. This certainly allows both of those things to happen. And this way, correcting this tonight from a policy perspective will put us back in the good graces and doing things the right way.
Yep.
Anybody have any other questions on this? All right. Action items, Superintendent Willard.
Move to approve consent agenda items as listed above recommended.
So,
Second.
All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 500.
Move to approve Southwick Regional School Site Strategic Plan 24-25. Recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on that? I think Mrs. Reed did a fantastic job. Oh, this is the
That
regional
was the
school.
regional school one.
It's not her, it's okay.
We'll probably vote. on
She did a
that.
good job next week. But we'll vote on the. All in favor of this motion? Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 5-0-0.
Move to approve the agreement between the Southwick Town Granville Regional School Committee and the Director of Finance and Operations, Nicholas Bernier, for the period of February 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2027. Highly recommended.
So you said yes.
Yes. Not yes to the dress, but yes to the, he said yes to us, so he's coming on board. Yeah, so, any comments, questions on that? I'm very excited that he's joining us. I think he's gonna be a wonderful addition. We are very lucky to have him with us, and I know, as you couldn't tell from Superintendent Willard's highly recommended comment, she's very excited to have him coming on board as well.
February.
It's okay.
Well,
Oh,
okay,
not at this
that's all good.
Okay.
Okay, it's all good.
It's all good. It's got light, it's a big light at the end of the tunnel. It's all good.
What did he have?
And now that I have
60 day?
Aaron down here full
Yeah,
time,
yeah. Transition out of where he was at.
Yeah, your guys are good.
we're good.
It's good.
I'm swimming again.
Yeah.
All right, can I get a show of hands to approve the motion? Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 5-0-0.
Move to approve fiscal year 2024 town report submission. Recommended.
So moved.
Second.
There's a little bit of editing that needs to get done
Oh, I
here. though.
love you. You always do this.
So, I'm just looking at the administrative staff by school, that has changed.
This is last year.
Okay.
And this is where we
This
always
gets
run into that.
confused
All right,
every-
yeah.
This is why I
This
had
is last year.
literally.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, this is the report for the end of the school year,
right,
correct?
right.
That's
Okay.
why Erin is smart. She gets it done early, so our eyes are
Yes,
still
so
there
that-
and
yeah,
not too
yeah,
entrenched
makes
in this
sense.
school year.
Obviously, depending on if anybody resigned over the summer, those lists of all the teachers may or may not be accurate either, right? Any other questions on this? Are we good?
No.
We're good.
I think that, it's interesting to note that, our sending school choice numbers have remained consistent.
It is.
Just an interesting little tidbit, you know.
We have a lot more. And we've cut them down from 10 to 5. Agreed. For the most part.
When you say that, what do you mean?
We used to have like 6 classes, 6 teachers. We
Right,
could take in more school choice kids at a grade level.
right.
And our school choice receiving still stays consistently high, even though we're not taking in we don't have as many open seats.
Right, so our receiving numbers have gone down because by choice, we have closed.
Now-
We don't-
yeah.
Right, by 20 since,
Yeah.
to over a period of 2 years. But I think what's, our
sending
sending
out
is the same, and I think that that's, you know, that's noteworthy. Because we're not having an exodus, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
And clearly our receiving is twice or more our
Yeah.
receiving or our sending. Anyway, just thought that was interesting.
Mhm.
All right.
Anybody else? We good? Okay, we good.
Yeah, but
All right, can I get a show of hands to accept the motion? Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 5-0-0.
Move to waive second and third readings of policy BEDB-E, agenda format. Recommended.
so
Second.
Any comments? Show of hands to approve the motion. Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 5-0-0.
Move to waive second and third readings of policy BEDH, public participation at school committee meetings. Recommended.
so
Second.
Comments on that? Show of hands to approve the motion. Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 5-0-0.
Move to approve policy BEDB-E, agenda format. Recommended.
so
Second.
Any comments? Show of hands to approve the motion. Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 500.
Move to approve policy BEDH, public participation at school committee meetings, recommended.
So moved.
Okay.
Any comments? Show of hands to approve the motion. Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 500. You want to do that or you want me to do that? We need a consent for that.
Move to approve out of state field trip to New York City on May 15th, 2025 to the 9/11 Memorial Museum, Times Square, and Richard Rogers Theater, recommended.
So moved.
Any comments on that? Show of hands to approve the motion. Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 500. All right, subcommittees, negotiations. We had a mediation meeting tonight with the paras. We obviously had a number of people speak up at our meeting here 2 weeks ago. I think they did a fantastic job relaying to us the importance and the challenges that the paras are creating or presenting, are running into. I know we are trying to work diligently with them to try to get them to a much better financial spot. And we're moving forward with that. So hopefully we can make some progress and get everybody to a spot where everybody's happy. Finance, we've got a meeting tomorrow, 9 o'clock. All right. Collaborative area.
Wednesday this week.
I've got a meeting in a couple of weeks for the corporation. Policy, we have the
I
next
feel like
meeting.
it's our next meeting.
Our next
right?
meeting, the policy meeting, right, Aaron? Good. Did we get an answer back as to where our policies are? I know there was I saw the email. I don't remember us saying that we were gonna wait till all the policies were done. I brought that up numerous times that we were looking for the policies to come back, so yeah, that's why we've spoken almost every time at the
I
meeting.
know, I keep asking. we
Yeah,
keep waiting,
so,
it just
so
keeps like-
let's get the policies. So respond back to her that we want them. So as soon as they can get them back to us, we would love them.
So you want to do section by section?
Yeah, section by section. We're at I or where are we at? I, J, something. So let's get A through I and we'll bring them back and we'll get them done. So that way superintendent and them can get their policy book or their procedure book done and we can vote these things in. All right, awesome. Buildings and grounds, we have a meeting coming up
November 21st.
21st. That actually may be a day that I've got an issue with. I don't know whether we actually need
Yeah,
Mr.
right.
Amato. I don't think we need him.
Okay.
I want to review the proposal that we've got and figure out what we want to do. So I don't necessarily think we need, I know he can't make one of those first couple dates. Let's see.
Only make the 20.
Yeah, I don't think I can make the 21st. I don't think we need to be waiting anymore. Let's get a meeting with us. And then we can figure out, and then we can bring Mr. Amato in a short time frame to kind of say, okay, we've talked about it, we want to do this, how do we move forward? Because at some point here, we're gonna need to do a presentation to the towns. I think it would be great if we can get that maybe ready for the budget roundtable meeting. I'd like to get, it's not a final thing, but I want to get the temperature from them to see whether they're even interested in this.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
All right, IoT tomorrow, wellness, SPED, technology. Advisory committee, we haven't done it. Southwood Capital Committee, not till January. Athletics, we haven't got something, we'll get something put together here after the fall stuff is all done. And legislative liaison this week. That is,
I don't know what happened.
oh, hang on,
Well.
it could, yes, it is the pack. Oh, that was, that was an email from a couple of the members that were teachers. And I spoke to Superintendent Willard about that. Did you get it? Because I don't know whether that was an official email from the pack. That was an email from a teacher saying, I'm summarizing what we talked about. Can we do
It
this?
was official.
Okay.
They would like to have, just so that they had some direction from the school committee and like, just to make sure that they're on the same, like giving you what you need. If they could just have, so I know, Chuck Jasak asked if he could be on it, so he could go on as an administrator.
I think that's
And
fine.
if there's anybody on the school committee who'd like to be on it, I would say,
I think they were asking for either or,
Okay.
administrative, the way I read the,
okay,
email was, hey, we feel like we need somebody, can we have administrative or school committee representation?
Yeah,
And if.
Chuck wants to
if
go on
Chuck
that, I
wants
think
to
that's
do it, I think
fantastic.
That's fabulous.
he did ask to be on
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
I mean,
that's
we're
fabulous.
looking for, I mean, Pam and I were there and I thought we made that, I would talk rather, we're looking for recommendations from this eclectic group that we put together in ideas and ways that we can improve the relationships and the sense of belonging for the kids in the district.
I would guess that during the course of their first meeting, questions came up that they didn't have answers to. And they probably felt like, if we had a school representative here, they could probably answer some of these questions. So
And I don't
that
think
would be
he
my
can.
guess.
Like a logistic of what happens in the school.
Right.
Okay.
So maybe, okay.
From that, anyway.
He might be able to, yeah,
Maybe,
but he's not gonna be able to make.
We'll find out.
But
Yeah,
nor
we'll
should
try
he,
it.
nor should he,
Yeah.
but he can be a liaison to,
Us.
and he would at least know who to ask.
Right.
And I think that that's a step. Okay. And if they want more, then we can go down that road, but I did want to make sure that we addressed that request.
No. I completely agree with that, so thank you very much.
Cool.
All right, public comment. Okay, just checking it, because you're here. All right, old business. We already talked about our old business, that we thought we were gonna have to talk about old business, which we brought up on the,
Sorry, correspondence.
right. Anybody got anything for new business? I will entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Hi.
Aaron, let the record show the motion passed 500. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time.
All right, you make sure you sign these if you've
Yes,
not already.
I have.
done so.
Oh, I think I did.